Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Shepard. I'm joined by Lily Padman.
Hi.
Today we have one of my favorite actors on. I've been slowly becoming obsessed with him. I got a handful that I follow that I'm really intrigued by, and this is one of them, Jon Bernthal.
I'll be honest, because that's what we do here. When I first saw him, I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. And then as soon as I saw his face, I was like, oh, I do. He's in everything.
He's in absolutely everything. I think most people will probably know The Walking Dead because it was such an enormous hit.
And he was in King Richard.
Yeah, King Richard. The Punisher. He is the Punisher. The Accountant with Your Boyfriend. Daredevil. Fury, and he has a new movie in theaters now, The Accountant 2.
Also with my boyfriend.
With your boyfriend. But one thing we didn't get to in the interview, which I really wanted to, we ran out of time, we had him for so long, is he has a really cool project in Ojai called Ironbound, and it runs from May 9th to May 11th and May 16th to May 18th, and he will star alongside actress Marin Ireland and an immigrant blue-collar story, and he has put his whole life and passion into this theater project in Ojai, and I hope people will go check it out May 9th through the 11th and 16th through the 18th.
Once you hear this interview and you hear his acting background, you're going to want to see that.
Oh, he's a monster.
Oh my God. What a story. His story felt like a movie.
Yes, 1,000%. Please enjoy Jon Bernthal. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Happy Egg. Crack open happy. Look for the yellow carton at a store near you. And now, on with the show.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
My wife is disgusted by beards.
Okay, yeah.
And I just got off of this movie. I just got back from Africa. And the beard, and now we got kind of word that in not the next thing I'm doing, but the one after that, they want to keep the beard, and I think the beard's gonna play in it. So this beard ain't going nowhere.
Yes.
And
everyone's gonna get comfortable and make peace with the beard.
And that's not happening in my in
your
my house,
in your
man. My wife,
life?
she's truly disgusted.
You had a great mustache in it was like a comedy. No, it wasn't your normal
King Richard.
Yes,
the
King
tennis
Richard.
guy.
That's
the one
bushy,
that I'm typing. Yes, long.
It's impressive.
Big. It's disgusting. And then this thing just accentuates it. So it's funny, man. I come from a family, my whole family sort of reminds me. My brothers are really good looking, and I'm my nose has been broken a ton of times. I was born with these giant ears. I hate the way that I look.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah. But I look at you and
great,
I'm like,
man.
you're gorgeous.
Yeah, this guy, what are you worried about? I don't know, man.
Similar.
I guess we got the big.
Well, let me ask you. I
sir.
made a decision where
Yes,
I'm
sir.
I'm not. This isn't the face I wanted. So I guess we're going tough.
Yeah,
I'm going to embrace being
Are
masculine.
your brothers pretty?
Listen, we got to get into his brothers. They're like the Romney family. Not am I?
Rami Malek?
No.
Rami Malek. Rami's brother's cool.
Emanuel.
I like Rami.
The Emanuels.
Oh, the Emanuels. Oh boy. Yeah, my brothers are.
They're the
something.
Emanuels of DC.
Oh, this is
my
exciting.
brothers. Yeah, my brothers are something, man. I'm the middle, but then we also my parents took in a bunch of foster kids, so it's weird. And
awesome.
my parents were sort of the parents in DC that kind of where we grew up. If you were ever in trouble, they all had their own sort of specific and unique and separate and private relationships with friends. So if you were in trouble, you'd go to my dad. If you
lovely.
And it was really
a lawyer
lovely.
that became the board of directors of the Humane
Society. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so a sweet, I'm presuming a nice gentleman that would take on that work.
I think my dad is really nice. He's a rougher. He's kind of got a rougher. He's very direct. He's enormously
from?
smart.
What's his
He's from
background?
Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Grew up in son of immigrants.
Russian,
Yeah. Russian, Polish. But I don't know that people would sort of lead with nice with him.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
but they would, I think when you get to know him, 100%, fiercely loyal, a great guy to have in your corner.
What kind of law did he practice?
So he started off his 3 cousins that were sort of his best friends and like his brothers growing up. They, one of them specifically, but they were sort of involved with pretty major bank robbery in Connecticut. And my dad, went into law, I think to
defend his friends.
But then he got into representing radio stations and TV stations, and was really just sort of. I will probably like completely mess this up. One of my other brothers would do this much better, but I think the legend has it that my old man was really. There was a few young businessmen that he became extraordinarily close with, and he was with them from a very, very young age, like just helping them build their businesses, sort of being like their right hand man. Again, when you ask me about my dad, the first thing I would say is, fiercely loyal. Like he is the guy you want in your corner. He's been in my corner. I've seen him be in other people's corners. I've seen him. I mean, no matter what happens, that guy's got your back. Yeah. And a huge lesson for me as a father.
Was he a tough father?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think I was wildly disappointing as a son. As when you talk about my brothers.
Yeah, let's hit it. So Nick is an orthopedic surgeon and professor at UCLA.
He's done his research.
He's the head of oncology and orthopedics at UCLA. Whoa. He's like truly went to Princeton, All-American football player, played basketball.
This is a bummer
there.
of an older brother to have.
No, that's my little brother, bro. That's my little brother. Yeah,
that's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, but listen, the older brother fucking was working in the Clinton administration and comms in the White House. Is that a miss?
A little bit. A little bit. But hang on. Don't give him that one too. Shit, bro. It's hard enough. He was I believe he was the youngest producer for the nightly news ever. He won about like 5 Emmys by the time he was 25. He's
got more Emmys than you, which
he sure he sure does. I mean, the joke in my house, getting back to the sort of like ugly thing, is that if I had my brother's looks, I'd have 5 Oscars right now. When you first start out, and I've said it before, when you're just facing sort of like this avalanche of rejection, I think the first thing we sort of go to as human beings is like, oh, I'm disgusting. It's because my ears are bigger. And I do remember palpably walking into rooms where like the casting director looked up and was sort of like, oh, God, but I think no, for sure. And it's not, but I do also think it's because look, in the beginning, I'm trying to be on soap operas, and like I would be in the waiting rooms and see these beautiful men just be like, this ain't gonna happen for you, bro. Like this doesn't, but there was never a part of me like, oh, you just wait. When I get my hands on some meaty, it was always, I suck. This isn't gonna work for me. It's you're gross. But what a blessing, in the long run, because I do think that there is a thing for folks that I've seen, and I don't know that it necessarily means because of their looks or whatever, but I have sort of come up with people where I thought, wow, they've really got this whole thing kind of licked. And they play really sort of like beautiful young men. But then when it comes time to play a father or to play, a soldier or to play a cop or to play somebody who's like really worked with their hands and they've never, honestly, whether they've done that or not, I think it really can become a hindrance.
They don't look like a real person. Which,
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of dudes at the gas station that look like some of the folks.
Yeah.
I think that's probably right.
You're like,
I think that's probably right.
Yeah. And then when they're playing the guy at the gas station, why isn't that guy in fucking Hollywood? Because he's gorgeous. Why is he wasting his time in Pennsylvania at this gas station? So you had a brother ahead of you. Who went through school, and clearly he must have been brilliant. This school you went to, Friendly?
Yes, the Sidwell Friends. It was a super. I mean, it's really coming like full circle right now because I'm trying to decide what we're doing with our kids next year, and I don't know if
we have 10 and 12.
You have 10 and 12. Do you have babies? No. But
I'm scared of that. That school stuff is scary.
Well, the whole thing, man. I look. For me, being a dad is. I don't know if it's similar for you, but I love things that you're never going to lick, that you're going to fail at constantly, that you just want so bad that you can pour every bit of your heart into, and that you just keep running into walls, but you keep. And my God, do you just fail and over again as a parent? But you admit it and you show up and you and so trying to figure it out now. And I think that. I don't know about if you could say the same thing, but I'm tremendously grateful for how I grew up, where I grew up, even with all of the walls that I ran into. And there is a huge pressure on me for my kids to learn what I've learned, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to learn it the way that I learned it.
Yeah.
Because I think
Nor should they.
Nor should they. But I think it really could have gone and did go bad a lot of different times. And look, I in that world, I was exposed. I like you say about my brother. My brother was definitely not a brilliant student. My older brother, no, not at all. I mean, he was. And I think he really got bullied a lot. And I think DC at that time, no matter where you were in that city, was a rough city, and it was rough on him. And I think a lot of the decisions that I made, how I was gonna conduct my life and how I was going to carry myself, was really in reaction to that. And I think in a very similar way, I think my little brother made those same decisions of what not to do based on what I was doing.
Sure.
It was a pendulum swinging in your family.
I think so, but I think the thing that was steady all the way through with my folks, because yes, both of my brothers are really, wildly successful guys. And I think more than just that, they've had unbelievably satisfying careers. They're like deeply kind and good people who really put helping people and being there for other people before anything else. They're family first people. They have wonderful friendships. They have wonderful marriages. They have wonderful children that they love.
I hate them.
Yeah, man, it's really like I was too impressed for
no rehabs or anything.
Nah, man. I mean, look, man, we have that. Believe you me, we have anything that you could possibly have within a family. I have.
Sure.
But with our sort of immediate family, I was doing an interview the other day for this movie I have coming out, and they asked Ben Affleck and me, like, what is your superpower? I mean, it was just so clear. I really do think it's them. It's my family. There's never been a time. There's never been resentment among each other. There's not been jealousy. There's been total support. Total. When I did, because I did get in trouble a lot when I was young, and
what brand of trouble did you find yourself in?
Got locked up a bunch of times, and it was mostly
we're doing some theft. We're doing
it was mostly I had problems with violence.
Okay.
Got into martial arts and boxing when I was young, and probably learned from some of the wrong people, and a lot of things, a lot of questions with my own manhood and fear, and I feel like so much of that stuff comes from shame anyway. And again, when I talk about teaching my kids, I really believe every person has to have their own kind of fluency in relationship with violence, and I feel a lot of your health and I find specifically as a man, I think you have to be able to have a healthy relationship with it to sort of understand it, because I think when it's super far away from you and you've never delved in those waters, it can be enormously toxic. And so to try to teach my kids that, my boys and my girls, but teach that to them in a place shrouded in honor and respect and kindness and justice and under the umbrella of safety, has been a real focus of mine. Yeah. And man, I wish I had that. I mean, it's just super basic. And I think it kind of goes for everything with these kids and with us. And I try to remind myself all the time, try to not let your feelings be the boss of you. Try to not do anything out of anger, out of resentment, out of fear. Try to be your own master in that way. You're never going to have that licked. You're never going to fully have that down, but you can aim towards it. You can try. Going to this unbelievably prestigious and lauded, school that I went to, I still, by the time I was my 11-year-old, I was taking the subway and the bus to school. I gotten jumped, I gotten mugged, like those things happen. That's not going to happen to my kids in Ojai. That is not going to happen.
They have better odds of coming face to face with a cougar.
For sure. But let's teach them that. But let's also, I also think that there is really something with, I've also, in both this business and in life, I think I've come across so many people who clearly walk down the street and walk into a room and have no situational awareness and and didn't grow up the way that you grew up and aren't thinking about those things. And it's not that, oh gosh, they're a sitting duck, or oh, they're vulnerable, or oh, this is going to be bad for them. It's just that who knows? And these things could become enormously valuable at a certain time. And when it does, what you don't want to do is sit in the corner and say, oh my gosh, make it end. I think you want to be able to be in a situation where you can protect your family, protect your friends, stand up to somebody who's getting it bad, no matter what that is, but to never fall to the base inclination and desires that push you to say, oh, I feel bad about myself. I'm going to go bully that guy. I know what I can do right now. I feel a little bit ashamed. I'm going to be the loudest talker in the room. I'm going to go do this. Rather, hey, you've been there. Like, you've been on the mat. You've been in the ring. You know how to, you like all that stuff. You recognize it for what it is. It's noise. And to give you a sense of confidence that's curated by really, really spiritually strong people. And what a gift I think you can give. And for me, because I had my boys first. And
so you have 2 boys and a girl?
I have 2 boys and a girl. And then we just took in my niece who's 3. So she's been with us for almost a year now.
So you got 4 little kids.
Yes.
Well,
yeah. Little-ish. I mean, she's little. Yeah.
Right. How old's your oldest son?
13.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my daughter's 12th birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, we're going to Disneyland tonight.
Let's go.
So
Let's go.
fun.
You'll go tonight and spend the day tomorrow?
Exactly.
Nice.
It's probably so good for a 13-year-old boy to have a little 3-year-old girl around.
Yeah.
My niece's dad is he's in prison in Florida. He's not going to get out. And my wife's sister, who's wonderful, is 6 months sober now, but really been fighting her whole life. And she's really, really fighting the fight.
Yeah.
But this little girl, she's seen a lot. She's been through a lot, and was going into the foster system, and we were able to, get down there and get her to us.
Oh, good.
And the gift has been, has been so profound for my kids.
I'm sure.
It's such a blessing.
One of the things I'm sure you wrestle with, like I do, which is like, what reality do they know? They've had a swimming pool their whole life. Like, that's bizarre to me. But I think having a little girl around who's really in it, I think is a good perspective giver for your kids, who I'm presuming your house is pretty nice in Ojai.
For sure. And but also I just, I think that there are, it's funny when I talk about that, people are always sort of coming to me or coming to my wife, because it's really my wife, but saying, wow, that's so great. And I just totally see it. It's a gift to us. It's a gift to our kids.
Oh, I believe that.
Well, for everyone, both
Everyone's
are true.
winning.
Both
Yeah,
are true.
yeah.
Both can be true.
This school, though, looks so idyllic just from the photo I saw. It's like a Henry Ford Museum in Detroit. Like, it's a Quaker school.
There are values, Quaker values that are enormously beautiful, and that there are no real Quakers that go to that school. The way that sort of DC was in the 80s and 90s, the public school, DC's a city that's not part of a state, and the public schools were in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
Because it's really a lesson in hypocrisy, that city, because you have this sort of sterling city on the hill in the middle of the city, which is all these monuments and all these government buildings, but that's protected by the Park Police and the Secret Service. There's no litter. It's total. Nobody from DC lives there. Right. And then you go like 2 blocks in any direction, and there's a different kind of music, a different kind of vernacular, a different kind of folks. It's definitely not what it used to be, but it is that, and you see that, and I think as growing up is sort of no matter where you go, it's a loss of innocence. You sort of start to figure things out. For us, I think specifically, that school just had a history. I was really brought up with the idea, Quakerism, that there is that of God in everyone. The way that Quakers pray. I don't know if you guys have ever attended a Quaker meeting.
I haven't, but I have a friend who's an atheist who attends a Quaker church.
I mean, the way that Quaker meeting works is everybody sits around in silence. So, at that school, for instance, once a week, every coach, every security guard, every buildings and grounds member, every teacher, every student, everyone sits in silence. And there's no leaders, no followers, there's no priests, there's no rabbis, and that if that of God moves you, anyone, you get up and you address the congregation and you speak from the God that's within you. So it's really steeped in conflict resolution, and it's really steeped in equality and diversity, which how cool, right?
Very
how cool. And so the school that I sort of came up with, was vast majority scholarship students. It really put a real onus on all kinds of diversity. There was kids that, weren't allowed to go to the public schools that were allowed to come to our school. And what I saw was this really sort of utopian, beautiful thing where kids that really were in some cases involved in things out of school that were
gnarly,
genuinely dangerous. You know, like kids. Kids were lost to gun violence. Kids, at that school, were on school grounds, really a part of this community where they felt respected and safe, and even when things would flare up, there was a way of dealing with them where it was there was no principle saying you're suspended, you're kicked out, you're whatever. It was a group of your peers, and we would try to get to the bottom. Okay, well, why are you doing what you're doing? And let's see if we can bring you guys together. And maybe you need to go spend a night in his neighborhood, and maybe you need to go to her house and see what that's like. And for me, again, it really worked. And man, do I believe it. And not knowing, if you had asked me then, I would have been like, this is a bunch of bullshit. But now I'm like, those Quaker values are beautiful. I love the school, and I'm so grateful to the school, and the people who are my best friends, who I played on my undefeated high school football team with, are still my best friends. Like and I'm so grateful.
That's a little bit of a
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
What?
I guess that'd be
conflict
sort
resolution, God, and then you have a football team. So I like it.
We were a really sort of like violent group of guys, you know, and there was really that element there, this dichotomy, but supported anyway. Truthfully, I think what I'm most grateful for is it really was a place and a city that was as diverse a place. And like people throw that word around, but like, the kind of folks that I got to grow up with were from all walks of life and in that city and at that time. And I'm just so grateful for it. And I think where DC is such an interesting thing, because you cross one river and you're Virginia, and then you go out this way, you're in Maryland, and there's the Eastern Shore. It's such a wildly different culture.
Okay, so you go to Skidmore, but you're there for how long? A year?
I was there. I had gotten in trouble in high school. So I had this sort of thing looming over me while I was in college. Went there to play baseball.
Trial coming your way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went to Skidmore to play baseball. And it was at Skidmore, where I started acting.
You go to Moscow. On the advice of one of your acting teachers?
Yeah, this woman, Alma Becker, I have her name tattooed right here. She was my first acting teacher, and I've told this story before.
I've never heard it.
Okay, sorry. I know. Isn't that the worst though, man? Anyway, I boxed my whole life, and so my head's a little, and my biggest fear is that I'm telling the same story over and over again, and someone's sitting there being like, fuck this story again. Like in every boxing gym, there's somebody who does that, and I'm so afraid.
We just had a CTE
I know, now I'm scared for you because you just said that, because we just had CTE.
Yeah, I'm scared for me about that too, to be honest with you.
You're going to be fine, just fine.
Yeah. Anyway. So I took this class sort of to just sort of fulfill a requirement. I was a total shitbag. I was there just to play baseball, and all the athletes.
What position did you play?
I played catcher.
Oh, okay. How are your knees?
I'm okay now. But from boxing and catching, and I play a lot of like outdoor basketball. They were bad for. I've had a bunch of surgeries, but hey, my little brother.
I just look when I've sat in that position. I'm like, fuck. How do those catchers sit like this for 2 hours?
Yeah. Ooh. It was bad for a while, but I played, all through high school and college. I played some baseball in Russia.
We got to get to that. Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah, man. So I took a class. I thought it was going to be this big kind of there was an intro to theater class that was, all the athletes took, and you would sit in the auditorium, and I heard you could just sort of take acid and sit in the back and watch movies. So I was like, that is for me.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I ended up, because I'm a total shitbag, in the intro to acting class, which was a serious acting student class, and I'd never seen anything like this before. And the first assignment was to bring in something that you really cared about, to share it with the class. And everybody was sitting on the floor, which I thought was the weirdest fucking thing in the world. Like, why are we sitting on the floor? And they were going around person by person, theater people sharing.
Yes.
And they were taking it so seriously, really like emoting. And it just dawned on me. One, I totally didn't bring anything, but like it was
you didn't
working.
love anything?
It's just like I never thought to
don't
bringing
wanna
an assignment. Like,
participate.
Anyhow, it was slowly but surely, working its way to me. And the only thing I thought to do was to get my catcher's glove because I was going to fall practice right afterwards. And I kind of launched into this story about how my mother had given me this glove on her deathbed. And my mom's like alive and well.
Oh my God,
yeah. I just thought that was sort of acting. And I
Yeah.
just told this story. And I'm like, and then me and my brother, we just have a catch and talk about
So it's kind of like an ABC after school special almost.
For real. And like everyone's crying their eyes out.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like crying my eyes out. And I
God.
checked in with myself. And I really went to this
wow.
crazy place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, guys, I'm just doing the acting here. Like, chill out. Like, this is, and this woman, Alma, who's this magical woman, from the San Francisco theater in the 60s and the 70s, was in original Sam Shepard shows. It's just great, fierce woman. Made everybody leave, and she just ripped me the fuck apart.
sure.
And then she said, but you're auditioning for the play. Like, learn this line, learn this monologue, come back tonight and audition. I did. And I have no idea why I did, but I remember reading the words, walking back to the house with the baseball players where I lived. And I remember reading the words and something was happening to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like the same thing that was happening in that room. And, I got in the play.
Can I make a guess or a suggestion?
Sure, man.
When one embarks on boxing and fighting and defending, I don't want to get hurt. I mean, weirdly, I don't want to get hurt.
Sure.
And I want everyone to know, just pick someone else. There's an easier thing for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm protecting this sweet boy that's really in me.
That's it.
You get in there and you're like, wait, you can be a sweet boy? And people will be happy about
And they
that? And no one
cry
here is
over
going to
it?
fucking call me gay because I just said I like my brother and miss my mom. Like all these layers of like, wait, a world like this exists?
I can definitely identify with that.
Yeah.
What I'll tell you for me more specifically was what I found is the guy who was like getting in fights on the street, that was a bunch of bull. Like that guy was fake. That guy was scared.
Yeah.
That
He was
guy
the most
operating.
scared.
But what I found out is that if I could, and still to this day, man, if I can tap in to like real, genuine chaos and danger,
Yeah.
the same thing that was intoxicating. It, for me, I my friends, I loved my friends so much. And I sort of went from the guy in the back, sort of like talking the smack, like, hey, let's all go do this, to being like, okay, I need, the shame. I got to be the guy in the front.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now I got to be the guy to do it one-on-one. Okay. Now I got to be the one to like prove to myself that I can do it. Right. And this stupid, toxic, awful game.
Yeah.
But what I found was if that energy, that intoxicating energy, if I could tap into that this way, I could do it in such a positive way that brought me closer to people.
Both pursuits are full of fear.
For sure. And I think in both cases, what I've really responded to, especially, going all the way to now, is that it's a group effort and it's a collaborative effort. And you get so close with I know it probably sounds cheese dick and hokey, but like the soldiers that you're with next to you. The reason why I was getting in street fights is because I didn't know how to tell my friends how much I loved them.
Yes, exactly.
And that was all it was.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I love those guys. I didn't know how to do it any other way.
Yeah.
Yep. And I wanted them to feel so safe and protected that they would love me so much.
For sure.
And I thought my wife would like that.
Yeah, which is like, oh
And
my
she's
God.
like, no.
Yeah, like, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
And my
is-
wife comes from like a genuinely tough family. Like I'm like a total. Yeah,
Her
that's
uncle is a
crazy.
WWE.
He won the gold medal for American wrestling. Yeah, Kurt won the
Wow.
gold medal in '96, and Eric. They were
They were teammates?
best of friends. Mark trained him.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. He was at Foxcatcher with
Was
him.
he on Foxcatcher?
And he left to go train with my
Have you
wife's
pumped
dad.
him for those stories?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, my wife's dad's got even better stories.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
okay.
They're serious.
Wow.
They're the real deal.
serious family. Yeah.
So yeah, same. I just wanted, I loved my friends so much. I wanted them to love me so much, and I would jump on fire for them to show that. And I found out you can do it in acting and comedy.
You can just say it, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't.
I know.
If your group of friends come from a group of adults who say I love you and then act in an opposite fashion, if that's like your core group, everyone there is divorced kids. No, saying it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and the truth is, I don't want to sell these guys short because they're all they're actually not, like they're not mongoloids. They're not like simple, they're beautiful people with successful families and beautiful careers.
The sad thing is you get older as you go, oh, everyone on the other side was also in the same situation.
That's it. And I think that was like one of the biggest things for me is that when I started, I remember there was this one time in DC when we were at a bar and there was some little stupid altercation. I think my little brother had gotten into it with some guy and I was fiercely protective because, then you go to therapy and you start working on your anger and it's so crazy that we're even talking about this. But, I really like, keeping an anger journal and really whittling it down and doing the work. Like, what are the things? And one of the things for me are my brothers. I just knew from a young age, my job was to protect my brothers. Yeah. So going into certain situations, playing pickup basketball with them on the street, going out drinking with it. Like if my brothers are around, I am that guy. Yeah. And I still to this day, like
you're their security.
A little bit. And I just do remember my brother got into it. This guy was sort of giving him a hard time. And then this other guy stepped in and I just got up and I remember I hit this guy and his teeth, I knocked his teeth out. And I had this theory that you only got hurt in fights when it's your fault. Like if you somehow that was my scientific,
that's very interesting.
Complete bullshit. But I remember I got this huge infection on my hand and it was Christmas Eve, and I just woke up that next morning in this state of like absolute horror that this guy has to wake up on Christmas morning without his teeth.
All I want for Christmas is my tooth.
Bro.
You got to at least sing that and get a laugh.
Actually,
probably.
How funny is that? I never even thought of that.
Literally my two front teeth.
But I just remember being in DC and like crying my eyes out thinking about this guy. And that was when at least the beginning of like, okay, you gotta stop this shit.
Yeah.
And then like, I always talk about this with my kids, like the steps of behavior. There's unconscious incompetence where you're just doing dumb shit and you have no idea you're doing it. And then that
reacting.
Super incredible and vital, point where you're like, oh, conscious incompetence. I am doing something wrong. Like I punch, like what the fuck why am I doing this? Yeah. And then that next step of conscious competence where you're like, if I tell myself every day, just don't do that. Just like, here it comes, don't do that. I can plan for it. I can do a million different things to keep myself from doing that. And then maybe you can get to that spot of unconscious competence where you don't even have to think about it. You just do that. And for the most part, because I don't ever believe in like licking it all. Like I don't ever believe like you're good. I don't believe that this is gone from you or me or whatever. But I just do want to say, I think with my brothers and my friends, the one thing that was always present was we only wanted each other to be okay and to be safe and to grow out of our bullshit. And whether we were able to say that to each other at the time or not, no. But that was clear, is clear, and I'm like so grateful for that.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, Russia.
Yes, sir.
Somehow this teacher says, what you might want to think about doing is going and studying in Moscow?
Yeah, I didn't know, man. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Once I started acting, it was baseball and acting.
Is this like 96? What year is this?
I went to Russia in 98, and then I was there from 98 to 2001.
Wow.
3 years?
Yeah, 2 years. I first went for a year, and that was like to be, in the Russian school, and she had hooked it up, got me an audition.
And can I ask what the value of that is? That school where like Stanislavski
Yeah, it's his
taught?
school and
his
Chekhov.
school?
Yeah, the
Oh
Moscow
my
Art
God.
Theater. Yeah. So, I went to her and I was just sort of like, I was dealing with this case and I was gonna, I was in real trouble and there was, having to deal with parole boards and this and that and not being able to continue school. And I went to her and I just said, look, how do you do this? Because I didn't know if it would be any different than, I thought it was like being a plumber. Like, what are the steps that I need to do? This is what I want to do. I wanted to be a regional theater actor and that was it. And she said, look, there's no rhyme or reason to this thing. There's no one way. But she said, if I were you, I would audition for the Moscow Art Theater. Americans haven't done this before. And I think what she knew, one, was she knew she needed to get me out of my environment. And I think two, there was a level of training over there and an environment over there that was so like beyond humbling, like so, Moscow was wild in the late 90s, it was wild, it was completely run by the mob.
mafia.
It completely,
Wow.
shootouts in the Duma. I had guns pulled on me multiple times within my first few days
Oh my
there.
God.
It was a really,
was
really
lawless.
lawless
Yeah.
place. And for a guy who's like, I'm a tough DC guy, and like,
Yeah.
like Barrel, like you are not tough. Like you are a little
These
bug. You're a
motherfuckers
big,
ate their shoelaces in
Bro.
Stalingrad.
but you like the old lady on the street, right? Like the
Yeah.
babushka will fuck you up, and like straight up. And also like I hadn't done international travel, like I didn't know,
Yeah.
but like to go to a place that to be like a Russian actor, to be a Russian singer, to be a Russian, like that meant every bit as much as to be an American, and it was this thing where to be an artist there was, for lack of a better word, it was this, at this time of my life, it was this enormously masculine thing to do, like you learn how to do ballet, you learn how to do acrobatics, you learn how to fight, super rigorous and unbelievably cutthroat. So if you get into these schools, it's so hard to get in. And then every semester, out of 10,000 kids, they'll take 100. And then every semester they'll cut you in half. And those, that last year, those 10 kids, you're doing 10 plays in repertory. And when you show up to the theater, you're told which of those 10 plays you're doing and which role you're playing, both male and female. Like the level of discipline was so unlike anything I'd ever seen.
What's going on with the language? Is it in English?
So when I first got there, no, definitely not, man. Nobody was speaking English at all.
Oh my God.
Well, how on earth are you dealing with that?
Yeah, it was hard. Like I lived in a place called Park Kulturi, which is Gorky Park, and not a great area in Moscow then. The deal is if you got in the school, they'd provide a translator. So I had this guy who was with me all the time. But the cool thing is like, honestly, in your first, 12, 13 months there, it's training your attention and your concentration. So like a common exercise would be, if we were here, we would all be sitting here. And then at the same time, if there was 12 of us, it's like ensemble building. At the same time, with no leaders or followers, we'd all stand up at the same time. And then at the same time, we'd all pick up our chairs. And at the same time, we'd all start moving around the room, right? And you would have a newspaper article and you would have to read a paragraph from that newspaper article while we're walking around the room. It's starting to get confusing, right? While we start walking around the room, I'm saying, Dax, what color is your underwear today?
Right.
And you would say red, right? Or whatever. Or I'm not wearing
green
it.
and blue.
Green and blue. And then you would say, John, what'd you have for breakfast? Strawberries and eggs, right? And we'd go around the room. The teacher, meanwhile, is snapping, coughing, and clapping.
Oh, wow.
Then at one point, the teacher says, stop. Everybody stops, and at the same time, everybody makes a semicircle with their chairs. At the same time, everybody puts their chairs down. Same time, everybody goes and sits down. And you had to know, what did Dax ask John? What was the answers?
Holy
how many
shit.
claps? How many
like a
coughs? How many
listening
snaps?
exercise.
But
But
like
while
paying
you're
attention.
doing your own
but what you're
thing.
reading your thing, and then you need to recite.
Wow.
You need to know every answer, and you need to be able to recite.
That sounds perfect for you.
It was perfect for me.
Yeah. Especially coming from the sports background.
It was more rigorous than boxing. It was more rigorous than football. It was more rigorous than, anything I'd ever done. And I think more than anything, to be a teacher in Russia, to be an acting teacher is the highest acclaim that you can get. So my teachers were the biggest stars.
Wow.
And not just that they were famous, but they were the most respected. Oleg Tabakov is like the Robert De Niro of Russia. He's a teacher. So if you're anywhere in Moscow and a Moscow art theater teacher comes into the place that you're in, you have to stand up and you can't sit down until they sit down.
Oh my God.
And it's like this level, and those guys were performing at a time when, during, they all lived through communist times.
Yeah.
So, public gatherings were outlawed. So if you were to do theater, it was always state-sponsored theater.
Probably propaganda to some level.
Propaganda to some level, but then if they said, okay, Dax, like, you guys are doing a play and this is a state-sponsored play, but now because my arbitrary look on it, if I'm a state person, I think that there's actually an anti-state message.
Yeah.
They'll come to your house and kill you. Like they would, like Meyerhold was one of the biggest Russian directors of the Moscow Art Theater, assassinated in his apartment. Teachers
Because he
sent
got
to
a little-
Siberia. Well, did they or did they
according to
not?
them.
According to them.
Yeah.
And who knows? It's corrupt as hell. Who knows? But this is
Exactly.
where they came up in. And my teachers, this is, sorry to bore you on Russia,
No,
but it's
this
like
is wild.
the my three main acting teachers, these three men, they're best friends, you know, like my three brothers, my three best friends. I love these guys. And they did this play called Cinzano about these three best friends who one of their mothers died, and they sit in an apartment and drink a bottle of Cinzano and talk about it. They did it all through the 80s, performing in subway tunnels and abandoned buildings, putting signs up through the city where if anyone had been caught,
dead.
They would have been, I don't know if they'd be dead, but they'd definitely go to prison. They'd definitely be in trouble, and they performed it anyway. So there was just this level of vitality to it that I think I really responded to.
How lonely were you?
You know, no internet. I didn't have an email account. I didn't have a cell phone. So, you know, I was there. You know, I never, you know, there's no calls home.
Are you a romantic though? Are you telling the story of your life? And you're like, look at me, man. I'm in fucking.
A little bit.
Yeah, I would be. That would be what would sustain me.
Look, man, given where I was, and again, like not hard scramble, never had, but things were not looking good for me.
Yeah.
Like I do feel like every day I am in church, man. I am walking the walk. And it's not like, oh, there's somebody else. I'm working hard. It's just for me, my mind was blown every single day, spiritually,
so
physically,
cool.
everything. And just being in such a different environment. And I don't know if that's even possible now, because it's like, because with the internet, because
everyone.
Yeah, it's just that, like I had one phone call on Christmas. You know, I remember the phone call, and I remember how awkward. I called my mom and my dad, and I called my best friend Greg Zumas. Like that was, and I remember how awkward it was, and I didn't know how to talk to them. And all my dad would like, do you know how much this is costing? Like how much? Like are you sure? Like did you get? You know, I'm like, Pop, like what are we talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Okay, you also end up playing professional baseball while you're there. How does that happen?
You know, just while I was there to make a little bit of money, Moscow had just gotten a team. You know, it was interesting there because, you know, Russian baseball was sort of this thing, you know, all these new sort of American things were kind of popping out. You really had very different Russias and very different Moscow. There was the Moscow that all the kids that I went to school with, you know, they were coming in, their whole families from the Ural Mountains, you know, eating off a hot plate, you know, really destitute. But, you know, at night it was drinking vodka, singing, rapping, playing theater games. You know, no one had any money. So it was like, you know, you scrounged together what you had to do. You know, that was the Russia that I kind of knew. But there was this other thing with the mafia, and it was this fascination with American culture and these sort of American restaurants and McDonald's and one of the things was baseball. So there was this new thing in Russia where these like, you know, mafia guys would go with their model girlfriends and go watch baseball games.
I went in 2000 to Russia.
That's where I was there then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I went to St. Petersburg, and it was like, oh, communism's dead, but there's no stores, there's no bars, there's no restaurants. The downtown is just like dudes are drunk at 9 a.m. There's really nothing to do.
Real drinking.
Oh, real alcohol.
You know, like not surprising to see dead guys on the subway on the way to school, dead guys. And you know, there are certain rules there, you know, cultural rules on the street that just don't, like if somebody falls down, cracks their head open, you do not touch that person. You don't help them. You don't call anybody. Like,
what is that? What's behind that?
I think they've seen so much fucking suffering, is my guess, through those many years. I mean, from Stalin on, and so much suffering, many, you know, food scarcity. They've just seen
it's just like take care of yourself and get through it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want, I mean, look, I could tell you stories all day, like really brutal, you know, dark stories that happen there. But for every single one of those, I've got one that is so profoundly beautiful.
Yes, of course.
I just think it's both of those things exist, you know, at the same time there.
Sounds like they're carrying so much duality there. Like even the fact that it's like there's this mafia thing and it's all regimented, but then an art professor comes in and everyone has to stand up. Like that's already blowing my mind that they revere it. And on every corner there's a statue of a playwright or a poet or an actor. You know, to find somebody like a street guy, he'll know what's playing at the Bolshoi. He'll be able to name all the members of the Moscow Art Theater. And when you go, there's no idea of this sort of like subscription based, you know, sort of gentry kind of exclusive theater. The theater is religion. Every theater is packed every night. People are sitting in the rows. It's cheap. Everyone goes to, like, you take your family to the theater. You go and you see theater. It's like something that you do. And not in any kind of like, do you know who's going to be in this? Like, and also just the way that these plays are even put on.
So a play exists. There's no such thing as, okay, we're going to rehearse and then we're going to go up. You know, we've rented this theater, so we're going to go up in June. You rehearse a play until the director says it's ready. Could be 3 years.
Wow.
Once you have a role, like if you're playing Hamlet and you're playing Desdemona, those are your roles. And you might get a call next week and say, hey, in this, every night, there's a bill of what shows they're going. It's not like this show is playing here.
You're going to move
We're
around.
going to see Dax in Hamlet tonight, and then tomorrow they're doing Othello, and you know, you're playing Desdemona. So you have your parts, and there's plays that have been running there for 35 years, and they're just they're going to do it at the Taganka tonight, and you got to see this production.
It's like a rock band.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
What were you making in playing baseball? What could someone make?
So it was in rubles, but I think at the time it was close to. I mean, it was close to probably $25 a game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that went a long way.
He's like, okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, for me at that time, I mean, look, man, you could go at that time for 25 rubles, which was approximately $5 if I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
You know, the three of us, look, not in the Western places, but the three of us could go out to a Georgian restaurant, eat hachapuri, split a bottle of vodka, get a couple quarters, get a couple chickens, maybe a thing of beans, the best bread you've ever had. And we'd sit there and get completely fucking hammered and eat like the great, do you guys know what hachapuri is?
No.
It's like Georgian food. It centers around this thing called hachapuri, which is basically like this, it's like this bread with these three kinds of Georgian cheeses sort of like fried into it with an egg fried over the top.
Wow.
But like then you can like put these like Russian beans on it. I mean, it's bonkers good, like bonkers good. But like for $5, you know, 3 or 4 people, eat and drink as much as you want. So for $25, it's
not
like,
bad.
you know, because I was, 21 years old, like 20 years old, like my buddies were all Russian, teenagers and people in their young 20s. And so to be, I was like, to be like the big spender, like come on, I got you. Like it was so crazy to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so you get back from Russia.
Yes, sir.
You move to New York.
Mm-hmm.
You do 30-out plays.
Mm-hmm.
You do some like guest stars on all the shows everyone in New York does guest roles on.
Mm-hmm.
You get Tina and Tony's wedding.
Yeah.
And that brings you to LA in 2004.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're just scrabbling for those however many years that would have been.
Yeah.
Just kind of cobbling together.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of years. I mean, when I was in Russia, Harvard has a graduate school.
Sorry, that's really relevant. Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's relevant, but they saw me in they would bring their MFA students there. They saw me in a show. They're like, "What the hell are you doing here?"
Yeah.
So they offered me a spot and to go to. I was like, Harvard.
Yeah, look at that.
To go to graduate school.
To go to graduate school, even though I never went to college. I didn't finish college, and I didn't
even know one could do that.
Me neither. Yeah. But then you go back to Russia, but this time as a Harvard student, which is a totally different thing. And that was an extraordinary thing too. But yeah, then they have like, they do these like showcases and stuff, and I got an agent.
So you have a master's from Harvard.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's hilarious.
Look at the way, the arc.
Given the,
oh man,
basically you
fled
left,
the country.
You fled the country.
If I could bring in like a group of people that could tell you stories of how big of a colossal fuck up.
This.
Just I don't know, man.
Your story is a movie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're Will Hunting.
Dude, my best friends were from South Boston. My friend John Davis Spark, he just passed this year. He OD'd. Fucking greatest guy. Played baseball with him. But I was these like group from Southie took me to Harvard to audition. They're all waiting outside. They're like, ripping lines in the car. Like, dude, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like the craziest group of motherfuckers. Yeah. Sparks, he's like, wait, he's like, did you get in? And I go in there and I do this audition. They told me in the room. You know what I mean? Because they saw me in Russia. They're like, come back. You have to.
It really is Good Will Hunting.
He's
like a janitor.
My favorite movie of all time.
It was fucking nuts. And I remember calling my mom. I remember exactly where I was calling my mom on Sparky's phone, telling her I got, she's like, what? She couldn't believe it. But I met my wife, right? Yeah.
You met her at Harvard?
I met her. She was an ICU trauma nurse in DC. I met her the day I got home from Russia.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a story.
I
Yeah, man.
know.
Okay,
This is so wild.
Okay, so you come to LA 2004. You get yourself on a show. You're a regular for a season. It gets canceled. That's 2005.
Wow, man.
You get another show for a year. You're in this nebulous, I'm imagining. You're like, is it starting or not starting? Is it starting? Were you feeling that feeling here in LA?
For a few years in the beginning, there was definitely that thing, the whole ugly thing that I was telling you about, where I was like, okay, this is not going to happen.
Well, the first one was a sitcom, right?
Yeah, with like Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Lizzie Kaplan, and like, you know, it was the people that had done Friends, you know, it was like, and it was sort of supposed to be the one, like, you know, Jimmy Burrows took us on the private jet.
Wasn't it called like The Class or something?
Yeah. And I remember it was like, you know, it was like Chris Klein and who else was? Oh man, James Vanderbeek, I think. And there's like, you know, and like going into rooms to test with those guys, and me be like, it was like, this is a total fucking joke. Like there's no, like, look at you, you fucking charlatan, you ugly little joke. At that point, I was never. Honestly, I know this. Like when I started getting some guest stars, in the beginning it was really hard. It was just no for years, nothing. Couldn't make money. I was like selling weed. I was like doing whatever I could. I was, you know, bouncing. I was like doing whatever the fuck I could. But I'd come home feeling sorry for myself. And my wife was working at these major trauma centers around the country, being like, pull it, never saying it.
But she's like, do you know what I saw today?
Yeah, dog. And she would never say that, but it was, she could just do it by like, come here, I got you. And I'm like, I'm crying on her chest. What did you do today? Like, what was, you know, like you saw fuck.
Yeah. So it's several gallons of blood dump out today.
Right? And like literally like an angel. Like I'm with you in those moments, and like I'm upset about this bullshit. Because like, you know, and so like, you know, but I will say, man, through that time, it was really genuinely total gratitude. It was an influx of positivity. It was like you're getting really close, like you're, and there was no end game. There was no.
You haven't been arrested in a while. There's a whole.
I mean, I got in trouble one more time pretty bad in 2009. That's when everything kind of shifted for me. But like,
oh wow,
after
you've been working.
Yeah, that's when I stopped drinking. And
Oh, you don't drink?
I do not.
You do not for how long?
Since 2009.
Nice, congratulations. That's a long time.
Wow.
Meetings or anything or no?
No, it
just
was the anger thing. Yeah. I mean,
therapy, you said.
You know, that event more than anything else. Like, yes, I was working. Like things were
to lose.
It was starting, but yeah, it was a really bad thing happened in Venice, and I think more than anything else, you know, there's an issue sort of with one of my dogs. I tried to take my dog. There's a bunch of them. I ended up hitting a guy, and he got knocked out and hit his head on the ground. But it was really like being, you know, down in, you know, in jail in LA and not knowing whether this guy was going to wake up. And it was literally as profound and clear a moment as I've ever had.
Wow.
Okay, if you're going this way, this is your life now. There's no more acting. There's no more girlfriend. There's no more any of this like thing. Like you got to go be the devil. You got to, like, you're going that way. You're in. He's not waking up. This is your life now, dude. And it wasn't like, it was like, okay.
You just ruined your entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't even, it was more, for me, it was way more like active than that. It was like, okay, if we're going in that direction, I'm going to let you into my life. I will be the worst version of myself. I will fully give over to whatever energy that is, that will only be, and that's the thing, man. Like I see with so many people, violent criminals, folks, and it's folks that are that we call monsters. I know that they've been in the same spot, because the very next thought I had, and I was ready, man. Like and again, it's not a tough guy bullshit. It's like, I am ready for whatever the fuck comes my way, and I will meet it with whatever comes my way. Right. And I really fucking know it. And then the next thought was like, but if just this one time, please, just like, I'm done. I swear I'm done. Like, I will devote myself to this thing. I will devote myself to this woman. I will serve in every way that I can. I will really do your work, whatever that is. I promise you, like in any chance I can, I will. And like literally in that moment, not like it went away, but it's like he woke up, you know what I mean? And it was a different thing. And 1 year, that was July 3rd, 2009, July 3rd, 2010. I was in Atlanta starting The Walking Dead, you know, engaged to my wife, a year sober, no trouble, like really working. And like, that's look, amazing. Man, it wasn't all, but you know, a year later I had my first son, Henry, was born. And I'm like, I'm like blown away with gratitude,
Yeah,
you know, and at any point, including now, if it all goes away.
Have you read the Pat Tillman book, the John Krakauer book, Where Men Win Glory?
Sure. I love that book.
Yeah. He had that moment.
That exact same moment.
Yeah. He really hurt a guy right before college and he was almost done.
It gives you a lot of empathy, as you said. Like when you hear about these stories of people, it's so easy to say like, yeah, they're just bad.
You know, when I go into prisons and I get to know these people, and there's some folks that we've been a part of reducing their sentences and getting them out. And the biggest thing that I'm aware of, and when I tell this story, when I talk about my life, it is genuinely, there's shame in it. Because the truth is, man, I had every opportunity. I went to grade school. I had a dad who good parents who loved me, who like brought kids. I had more than and I hit these walls over and over and over and over. So many chances. This wasn't the worst thing that I had ever like, dude, what are you doing? And I know that like, but the thing that I find is the only reason that I got these second chances is because of that privilege. Honestly, it's the only reason. Yeah. And there are so many folks who just don't have that, or who made that same deal with whatever, and it didn't work out for them. And they're no better than me. They're no worse than me.
Do you have an explanation for what was driving this side of you?
For me, it's always, again, been like, I have these brothers, these like pillars of brothers who like never fucked up. Right. And just got it all fucking figured out. Yeah. And by the way, always made me feel like I had real worth. Like it wasn't like in a bind, you go to Jon, you really want to talk about something emotion, you really want to have an honest conversation. I know they come to me. They'll always come to me. And I was always that guy. Yeah. And that being said, I know it all came from shame. It all came from the times I was beat up, the times that I was jumped and I didn't do anything about it, the times that like I was really scared.
I can explain all this by one event. I let a kid beat me up in 6th grade. I let one kid, I can tell you his name. I can remember it like it was, and for years I laid in bed at night going, oh my fucking God, why didn't you fight back?
Do you know how much violence has happened because of young men laying in bed at night, hating themselves because they couldn't make their hands move?
I've never been more mad at myself. And it's funny because we interviewed Conor McGregor and I was like, how do you get in? He's like, oh, I saw a boxing gym. I'm like, there's got to be more to it than that. Oh, well, I got jumped by these guys. Oh, that were older than me. Okay. And then I go, well, I didn't fight back. He's like, yeah, I didn't really. I'm like, yeah, that produced Conor McGregor.
That's right.
God, it's fucking powerful. The amount of shame. I'm 50. It's all worked out. I'll be in bed. I'll just occasionally, I can be on the couch watching the kid punch me in the face for a long time.
Right. I know how toxic that road is. That shame and that. Damn, I didn't, and I'm really a wimp. I'm really a coward if these guys find me out. Like, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Like all those things are just such horrible roads to walk down. And it is crazy that, for me, a lot of the things that I get to do is like portray these sort of like uber tough, strong, and the thing that I find such a gift is that I'm really aware of each one of their, not just deep vulnerabilities and sensitivities, but their shame. I just don't think there's any such thing as like violence or strength without pain and shame.
Yeah.
Like I think they're just they're so.
It's not born out of.
No, man, you're crying inside, and I think like again, like you go into to prison and you walk among folks and you hang out among folks who have had real time to sit with this and to like really, you go into prisons and you find folks who are some of the, in my opinion, some of the most ethical and innovative and deep and spiritually sound because they've just had so much time to sit and really work a lot of this stuff out. And when you find folks like that, it's such a gift, like fully evolved, like fully figured it out. And, there are people who never get to be around their kids because they're behind walls, and I think they're some of the best parents on earth. Yeah. They don't take a single breath. The way that they breathe is in full consideration of their children, of their offspring, of their spiritual connection, and I'm so in awe of it.
You've done a bunch of great shit. I'm going to jump right to one thing, because I saw you in Walking Dead, and to be honest, I was like, I know this guy. I would be fighting this guy at the bar. And I couldn't enjoy it. It was that visceral for me.
I'm like, character?
The actor. I'm like,
oh.
He was Shane was he was a dick.
And I was like, oh, I couldn't really enjoy it. I was like, yeah, if this dude and I
I'm sorry.
are at a bar.
It's a good show. I wish I didn't do that for you, dude. Can you watch it and
This
just
is
fast
great,
forward
though.
through my
I
scene?
think this is great
No.
though, because I'm like, oh, this guy and I would get into it so bad.
Yeah.
Because
And-
you're the same.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah,
So
right?
and you just know, you know.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Can I say one thing about that?
Yeah.
That thing, the guy who, 2009, who got knocked down, hit his head.
Yeah.
2010, July 3rd, I wrote him a letter.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I realized that when I hit you, I saw you in me and I wanted to fucking smash it. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Yes, 1000%. So, but then you start, then you start
heartbreaking.
popping up in other stuff, and I'm like, oh, this
guy I hate.
This guy's pretty
This
good.
fucking guy.
This guy's he's pretty good. And then for me, We Own the City.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm prepared to bow down.
Oh, man.
Holy,
What a gift that
fuck!
was.
Are you good in that
Oh,
show?
Thanks, man.
That's like Gandolfini level. Oh my god!
Thanks, man.
I cannot believe that show wasn't enormous.
Yeah, I mean, they just did. I feel so bad for David and George because they're so great. You know, it's The Wire, and it's like you know, but that show was so. I think at that time, especially in a subject matter that I'm like so fucking curious about, fascinated by, deplored by, but you know race and policing is like so at the center, and because of that show, I got this like unbelievable front row ticket and access point, you know, in this fucking city that is like right at the tip of the spear of these fucking issues, and to really get to understand policing and to really, you know, for 3 months going out every single night on the east side with the gun squad, and then on the west side of Baltimore with Nagovich and them, and on SWAT raids, and like really getting to like know these guys really, really well. And then at the same time, understanding it through the systemic lens that George and David you know, are like kind of singularly can do.
Yeah.
And then getting to know the real guy and understanding it for all its complexities. It was just such a fucking gift that I got to do that.
Both The Wire and We Own the City is as close as you can get to narrative being a documentary. I mean, it's just so specific. It's so enjoyably specific. There's
Agreed.
not one line of exposition that someone thought they know how it works.
That's right.
Like they know how it works.
When you're dealing with David and George, David Simon, and you know, it's like they're not interested in making the scene the funniest or the most the most. It is journalistic
anything.
integrity.
Yeah.
It's like what really we're shooting this with as many of the real people as we can.
Yeah.
We're doing it at
It's
the real
almost
place.
not in an offensive way. It's almost a reenactment.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And then, but to play this like wildly colorful
Oh
guy
my
that everyone said like the dude's fucking larger than life in this tapestry where like 90% of the people I'm working with are not actors.
Yeah.
What a fucking gift. And, you know, in that world at that time after Freddie, like to be able to go into Baltimore, because the facts are in Baltimore, you know, The Wire is like required watching for every cop, like, you know, for
Yeah.
every gangster, for every community member.
Omar
Like they
coming.
would like, yeah, dude. And so like when you're saying, hey, I'm here with that, they open up to you and like you make these unbelievable friends. But the experiences I had, you know, getting to play that role. Yeah, I'm like so grateful for it.
I am so happy for you that you had that.
Oh, thanks, man. Me too.
Wow, you're incredible. I cannot encourage. I know we're here to promote other stuff, but everyone needs to go watch We Own the
I
City.
agree, man. Yeah.
I know we're in career mode, but I do have a question
Sure.
because based on this whole interview, I wonder what your opinion is on this. Have you seen Adolescence yet?
I have not. I can't. I saw his movie. I cannot wait to see this show.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it is exploring like the plight of young boys and violence and incel culture and how all this happens. And I was like, how do we fix this? And I don't know that you have the answer, but you've experienced a lot of this stuff. And I wonder, I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that?
Look, it is the thing that I'm like you know, my boys, my two oldest, they're a year apart. I'm like, man, it's like everything, you know, like how do I raise kind, empathetic, sturdy,
Protectors.
young men, protectors who take accountability. And there are things that I really feel like my wife and I have gotten right.
Yeah.
And there are things that I really feel like we haven't. And that is the rub, right?
Sure.
And like I do think martial art, there are things that are unquestionably good. I think jujitsu is unquestionably good. I think like a martial art that doesn't require you to strike somebody, which causes the other person to get angry and scared and strike you back, or that is such violent with striking that they could fall down and hurt themselves. But it's a martial art of getting close, of hearing them breathe, you hearing them breathe and saying, hey, I'm right here and this needs to stop now. Okay, I got you. I'm with you. To teach that to kids and to get them to have a facility in that and to be able to walk into a room and know that is like an unquestionable good thing. I think really having respect for nature, like really getting outside, learning how to be outside, loving outside, doubling down on things that no one can take away from you. No one can take nature away from you. No one can take reading away from you. No one can take music away from you. I think giving them these solid touchstones to really see value in those things as kids, freaking huge, right? And then, I mean, I will say it's like, I mean, everyone says it and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but like I do, it's sad, but like the phone and the screen is the enemy, right? And only because it's just wildly big, but you can't sit there. I don't think, I mean, I was raised like the kids that were told like, don't ever touch beer, don't ever touch this, like don't ever touch sugar, like those are the kids, like the second they got the shot, they're like,
oh, exactly.
Right? So like, how do you do it? But I think what you can do is you can clown the fuck out of people who are always on their phones. And like, that's what I do with my kids. I'm like, look at that family. Like, look at that kid and his dad. Like that motherfucker has not gone, like, how sad is that?
Yeah.
And like, maybe that's not the best way. Maybe that's like, but it's one.
But it's a way.
Hey, look, it's like, they'll point out like, Dad, that guy's not gone off his phone like in the last, you know, and like, I don't know, but I do think that there are sort of undeniable things, art and food and skills and travel. And, you know, I think
confidence, I guess that's how you get it.
Yes. Because then you don't have to prove
exactly.
it in other ways.
I guess so.
Let's talk about what's coming out. You have so much coming out. First of all, you won an Emmy last year for Bear. Last year?
Yes.
Bear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks, man.
So you're on The Bear. You're going to be in the new season of The Bear. You have the Amateur coming out April 11th. That's with Lawrence Fishburne and Rami Malek. So The Accountant 2. I saw Accountant 1. This one's like seemingly from the trailer, it's like this one's a two-hander.
Yeah, more so, yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Again, not to be a cheese dick, but I do believe the greatest part of this thing is the people that you get to meet along the way. And in the first one, you know, Ben and I really didn't get much time together. You know, we were really, you know, I was sort of like, my character was sort of mysterious. You didn't know that they were brothers and they come together at the end. You know, this one is the two of them together. And, you know, it's Gavin O'Connor and Bill Dubuque, the same writer and director. I don't know about for you guys, but as I'm getting older and older, I'm just like constantly looking for models of people that like have really sort of like got it going. And Gavin's a guy that I really look at. He's been through it. He's been in those valleys, and I don't think you can be up in the mountaintops unless you've been in the valleys. But he is just like a family first guy who takes his art super seriously, and I love him. And I've really found that with Ben, you know, like this relationship. And I just got done working with Matt on the Nolan film, and I feel like the two, like, you know, I know Matt from
you're
Ford
in a
Ferrari
Nolan movie.
Yeah, I just got. That's why I have this haircut. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
That is really
But being
like,
anointed.
But oh boy, but like I like you know, I knew Matt from Ford Ferrari, but I just think that like what they're doing together with this company is like so beyond beautiful and what we need, and I think in a way is going to save this whole thing. And I just like I couldn't think of, you know, they're artist first guys, but Ben is brilliant.
Yeah, intimidatingly so.
He
almost.
is
Yeah,
so
he really
smart.
is.
He's
He
very
really
smart.
is. He's and you such an incredible filmmaker. And what I've loved is like on this film, he's the studio head. He's the studio head and he's the lead actor, but he's not the director.
He's like Bill Russell. He's the coach and a player. Yeah.
And it's such an interesting thing to sort of navigate, especially in that role. And the role he's become through personal things in his life, he's really got a deeper connection to the role, and you can see it and you can feel it.
Yeah.
I think he's brilliant in the movie. And, we really had this like awesome thing together.
You guys are exploring in a fun way. He's autistic and you're not, and you're brothers and you have a relationship and you're trying to understand what's happening with him. Does he love you? Does he care about you? Does he think about you? His behavior is very hard to read. That's all happening in this, yeah?
Absolutely.
That's a cool storyline.
Really cool. And I think it's really personal to everybody who made it, which is the most important. Bill Dubuque, who wrote it, created Ozark, he's wonderful. And
He wrote The Judge. I was in that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bill's great. Bill's great.
He was a headhunter in St. Louis or
I know,
something
man.
right before
I know.
The Judge.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's a great story.
But, it does come from a really personal place. And I think that he writes family and is so... And when you think about Gavin and the movies that he makes and sort of uncovering father issues and brother issues and masculinity and, these guys are all sort of like deep dive type guys. And I think that the thing that I really wanted was because of the first film, you do get sort of a sense through these flashbacks of how these boys were raised in this really, really unique, violent way by their father. I wanted Brax, the character that I played, he had to be equally, I didn't want it like one guy's got the affliction and the other guy's got it figured out. It's like, no, like it's like he is every bit.
Here's one side of the coin. Here's the other side of the coin.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they're equally dependent on each other. They're equally in all of each other. They're equally fucking frustrated with each other. I find with everybody, I don't know if you guys think this with the relationships that in your life that are the most important, but I'm constantly blown away by the things that I love about people so much are such a close cousin to what I cannot fucking stand about them.
Of course.
Like it's like the same
Yes.
thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it can be something totally positive, like my wife will never tell a lie. She will never exaggerate. She will never say anything bad. Like her integrity is so like insane. It's almost like, but it's like, dude, like if we just say he's sick, you know what I mean? Like we can like burrow, like we can get through this, but like, so I just think that but oh my God, I'm so in awe of that. And so I think you really feel that in this movie, the things that these guys love about each other, love each other for are exactly what also drives them crazy. And I think it's really honest.
Okay, do you like this term method actor or do you hate it? Do you have objections?
I mean, I don't know that like I hate her. I don't know. Look, being from the Moscow Art Theater and all that, I do think it's bastardized and it has nothing to do with what that method was.
I think the colloquial understanding of method is you don't break character ever.
Which is not what Stanislavski's method was at all.
Right.
Yeah.
With that said, you played a mute in a movie.
Oh, fuck. Fucking Holland. Did Tom tell you this?
No, I just read it.
Fuck.
And you didn't talk to anybody for months.
Yeah.
How does that?
Well, it didn't work, dude. I mean, like, I don't know. Tom, yeah, dude. I mean, fucking Tom's on this Nolan movie too, man, and he was just clowning me for that. Yes, I was playing a fucking mute, and embarrassingly, we were in this tiny little village in Ireland, and it was one of these deals where we were all living together at the same little like resort in the middle of fucking, there's nowhere to go. So every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we're together. So we're not just together on set, we're together all, which is great. I love these guys.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want it any other way, except I come up with this idea. I'm going to be silent the entire time. So now they've been dealing with this fucking asshole
What
on
if you saw someone was on fire?
bro, but the way it all came to an end, which is so embarrassing, is like, not only do they have to deal with me on set, but we would sit there at dinner and I would be like, what do you want for dinner? And I'd be like, and then I'd like have a little pat. I'm like, this is so lame. This
You
is so,
kind of boxed yourself in a corner.
bro, it was so bad. And then there was like, you ate salmon for every meal, and I'm obsessed with lemon for my salmon. So I wrote on this little notepad to Tom Holland, who was like 17 at the time. I'm like, hey, dude, can you get me some lemon
my
for my thing? I write that down. So he's like, of course. Can we have some lemon? And the guy comes over and drops the lemon in my soda. And I'm like, fuck, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Yeah.
That was the breaking point.
That was the breaking point. That was one of the breaking points. And I think the thing that I think is frustrating to people, and you know, and I think certain people are definitely guilty of it. And I really try to catch myself, because there is this thing that we want to show everybody how hard we're working. And when it comes to this thing where we're like, some of it is performative. And I have seen people where I've been like, oh, this motherfucker, like, we all know how hard you're working, dude. Like, great, good for you. But I've also been unbelievably surprised by that, where I thought that and I was like, oh no. Like, you know, I will tell you, Shia on Fury, when I first saw him like get back from like real boot camp in full fatigue, show up at Brad Pitt's house, be like, I just got back from boot camp, G. And I was like, dude. And then I was like, okay, 8 months later, this motherfucker has not stopped for 1 second, being all the way dialed in, and he's laying down shit that no one else is laying down. He's proving once again to perform on a level that other people can't do. Other people can't do it. And that is his thing. So what I really do try to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, God bless you, man. Like, if that's what you need to do.
I think it's cool. I think everyone gets to skin the cat how they want to.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, just you have a really popular podcast. You have a podcast that's adored and loved. And so you're a peer in this space. The real ones. You have firefighters, first responders, drug dealers, convicts. You have the whole spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find folks?
To be honest with you, over 90% of the people that I have on are just friends of mine from life that I've just been like lucky enough to get to know. A lot of the cops in Baltimore, folks that I'm,
Cool.
I have a really weird relationship with it. You know, I think for me, I've always really felt like the need to shy away from getting too much of me out there. I'm not, and
that's an old actor trope, though.
It is. I totally get it, but I also think that for me, I'm like, you know, we don't make money off the show. I don't monetize it in any way. I don't, the genesis of it was really after George Floyd. I found myself watching that and knowing that I had to be part of the resistance, that I had to be, I like, it would make me so angry and so disgusted, and that I had to do something, and that I felt that. And I would turn on the TV and I would go down there and I would go out and then I would see people throwing bottles at cops. And I looked at each one of those cops and I was like, I know these people. They're brothers, their sisters, their fathers, their daughters. And then I would go down to Newton Division, where a bunch of my really good friends work, and I would go make sure they were good. And I just was so sort of disgusted with the national discourse on subjects like that, but especially that, where I felt like the folks that were being the loudest were the people at the opposite poles, waving their flags as hard as they could, because they were filled with fear and shame, because they'd never experienced anything in the middle. They had never been down in that valley where they've actually come face to face with a cop, or they've come face to face with somebody from one of those communities. And then I just looked at my life and I was like, wow, you know, the one thing that I know is the guys that I know who run gangs, right? And guys who I know who have been in that life and are real community-minded, community activists, the real ones, right? That really do that. They can look among their own community and they can tell you who's real and who's not. They'll tell you which one of these guys, he stands for the set, but he's not. Like, that guy ain't the real thing. That dude right there, he's down for it. Like, he'll help the lady cross the road. He's down for this community. And they can look across the aisle, they can look across the divide and say, that cop over there, he's real. Like, I've seen, he shows up. There's a kid in our community that has cancer. He shows up since he's 5 years old. He shows up. And I've also saw it on the other side with the cops, that they can look over and say, that dude, that guy stand up. That guy will take, and it's only though. And then I was like, wait a second, like, what would happen if I put those guys together? Because in this moment where everyone's an expert, but no one is actually walking the walk, right? Like these guys are so far, right? Like what would happen if you put those two guys together? And those are the people ultimately that I want my kids to learn from. And so it's been, that's what the first shows were basically it was cops that I was buddies with and gangsters that I was buddies with. But then it kind of evolved and it was, special forces soldiers, surgeons, teachers, activists, actors. But the thing is like, look, I'm a fan of your guys' show. You guys are like actually really great at this. I am not. I am like not. And I am. And the thing about my
I disagree with
thing,
that.
no, I'm really not. But but like the point that I'm saying is that like my show is never.
It's not about you.
It's definitely not. And it's and I think the one sort of thing that we hear over and over about my show is like, oh, he didn't say anything. He kind of shuts the fuck. You kind of like,
You're a facilitator.
That's great.
I hope so. As I get older and in both, fatherhood and this career, I really keep coming back to intention. Intentions are everything. Like, what are your fucking intentions? And every time that I've done one of those shows where I can get behind my intentions. What are you, when I used to play baseball, forgive me, but when I used to play baseball, I had this coach in college who used to say, you're in the batter's box and you're sitting there and all of a sudden you start swirling and all of a sudden you start spiraling. You're like, fuck, I can't hit this ball. Fuck, dude, is he gonna throw a curveball? What is it? And you start to spiral out of control. And this guy said that in those moments, you gotta step the fuck out and remind yourself, why do you do this in the first place? Like take yourself back to like, what are you doing this for? And if that is like really clear and solid, and again, we're, in the podcast thing for me, when I've had people on where I really know, like I believe in this person, one day I want my son, little Bill Bernthal, to listen to this guy and be like, yeah, that dad fucks with this guy. Like dad says, watch this guy. And it's not about who they voted for. It's not about their politics or what side. Like this motherfucker has integrity. Yeah. This motherfucker's about it. And the majority of the people that we have on our show, they've never been on camera before. They've never, and you guys do that too. Like they've never done this. And so it's, I recognize that I'm asking them to do something that they're really not that comfortable with.
Yeah,
and so I do have a very weird relationship with it because look, you guys have, I'm sure people are just lining up to be, look at the people you guys have on, like on our show, it's a little different. It's like, we gotta, oh shit, that's right. I remember like my friend from DC that like, it's more that kind of thing. And it's like, I'm sort of have to sell them on the fact that, hey, you know me. Yeah. I'm not going to fuck with you. Anything you don't want in here, take it out. Yeah. Like you're good. Yeah. And then in the same way, like I know, like you're either a really good friend of mine or you're a friend of a friend who say this dude is the real, there's no bullshit here. There's no bravado. There's no bluster. Like this person, this woman, this man is the real thing.
It's really awesome. Cool. I think people should check it out. The Real Ones with Jon Bernthal. Watch The Amateur. Watch The Accountant 2. Watch Daredevil. Watch The Bear. My fucking goodness.
Awesome.
I don't know how you have the endurance for it all.
Watch the new Nolan movie.
This was awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me. You guys are
loved it. I loved it. It was so good. Thank you, brother. I sure hope there weren't any mistakes in that episode, but we'll find out when my mom, Mrs. Monica, comes in and tells us what was wrong.
Hi.
I'm really trying to figure out how that happened.
You're late for the listener. 23 minutes.
Yeah, I would say more than just late. So I got back from dropping Delta off. I was like, I got to work out, then record.
That was the plan for the day.
That was the plan. Then edit. And then I was like, I'm very tired. I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. So it must have been 9:45.
Okay.
And I set my alarm for 10:15.
30-minute nap.
But that's not, I now know that's not what I did. I was like, I set it for 10:15. Then I'll have 40 minutes to work out and then I'll be able to still do all the things.
Okay.
Then I'm taking this nap.
Yeah.
And do you ever do this when you're taking a nap and you're like, you're kind of waking up a little bit and I'm like, oh God, this is so much longer than I thought. Like, am I going to
the alarm's going to go off any second.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, okay, who cares? Right. And then I go back.
Okay.
So I was weirdly conscious of how long the nap was.
Mhm.
And then I thought that was part of my dream.
Sure.
Like, oh my God, this feels so long. Anyways, my alarm goes off. Oh, okay, great. And then I look at the wall clock and I'm like, 11:15. I'm like, 11:15?
Yeah. You said it wrong.
I did. It's more than that. I knew I was setting at 11:15, but for some reason,
You knew you were setting it at 11:15?
that was 10:15. I was still going to have, I was setting at 11:15 and I was going to have 45 minutes to work out, which makes no sense. That's what I'm struggling with.
And we started at 11.
11. I know.
Okay.
I just
You
confused.
just got out of whack.
I confused 11:15 for 10:15 is what happened.
Yeah, that happens. I'm jealous.
Yeah, were you sleepy? You would have liked to have slept longer.
Big time.
Instead, you got over here on time. And then I'm
Actually,
asleep.
I was 5 minutes late and
Oh,
I was
thank God.
stressed. And then I'm running in stressed. And then you're not here.
Oh, no. Why were you late? Did you have
We
too
had
long
a
of a
call.
nap?
No, no, I was working. We had a call.
This is a shameful fact check.
We had a merch call, Easter egg. And then after that, I only had 30 minutes to take my shower and put on my makeup and get here.
Okay.
Turns out
You had 40 minutes.
35.
Fuck, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Did you listen to the podcast I sent you yet?
No, because you sent it to me at late last night. Well, not late last night, but like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And so I couldn't listen to it then. And there's another part of the thing. I was the full intention.
8:27.
I'm an hour fucked up. I'm not really. No, my full intention was like, I'm going to listen to that while I work out. And then you're going to talk about
I
it in the fact
know.
check. I didn't make it to that
Easter
workout.
egg again. There's so many Easter eggs already.
This is all kind of, I think, reflective of what my updates would be.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay. I'm going to hit you with the headline. I think this is miraculous.
Okay.
And I think people they'll be scrutinizing of this. They'll be skeptical of these numbers. But I swear these are numbers. I weigh myself every day. Pre and post duty. Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
when we left for New York, I was 194 pounds
Okay.
in the morning, almost on the dot. Then when we got home on Sunday, I weighed myself 208.8 pounds.
Okay.
So I gained 14.8 pounds in 3
Wow,
days.
That's cool. Well, you were in New York. You were probably eating.
Oh my God, was I eating?
You know what it might mean?
Tell me.
It might mean that that's what your body really wants to be at. And you're kind of always like a little under what your body wants.
Okay.
I feel like that a little bit. Like if I just don't
Hold the
work-
reins.
Yeah, if I'm not like actively like thinking about sort of what I'm eating and doing my farmer's carries and my walks and all those things. If I'm just like
I
being,
want you to write a fitness manual as well.
then
Wogs and farmer carries.
then I think my body at this stage in life wants to be at a certain number. And I'm like active at keeping it a little bit under that.
Yes.
But I think that's what it really naturally just wants. Should I just give it what it wants?
You gotta give your body what it wants. Mine is just eating so fast and so much, and just I overate.
What'd you eat?
Oh my God, infinite hamburgers. But a new thing that I'm here to give a testimonial for,
Okay.
I urge you to do on your next trip to New York. Have you ever been to Mercado Little Spain? That's Jose Andres'
Oh no.
market in Chelsea.
Oh, then maybe.
Oh,
I doubt-
Monica,
You loved
you're
it.
gonna die.
Wow.
I'll add, I walk in and it kind of looks like a food court a little bit, right?
The Chelsea Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It's so elevated and hand built and everything's so good. And the meat has been flown in from Spain and they have a cool little market.
Yeah.
And so my intention was to go and get the hamburger there. Because remember, Jose was like, I make the best burger.
Yes.
When we interviewed him. And so I go in there with the intention of getting that burger. I invite Dr. Mike.
Nice.
We got a really cool tour of the whole thing. I'm going to cut to some of the things that came my way.
Okay.
they take olives, they press them, then they gather the oil and whatever else came out of it, and then they put it in some kind of calcium or do something to it. It comes out on a spoon, Monica, and it's an egg yolk. Have you had this?
No, but that sounds like something they do at a Michelin restaurant.
Yes, it's got a now skin over it, but all it is the olive oil.
Right.
And it's a yolk, and you take the spoon and you put it, and then it pops in your mouth.
Yeah.
And the taste, I couldn't believe how good this was. Best artichokes ever. Then the Big Daddy Burger then also recommended this more street burger.
Ooh.
And he's right. It is.
Oh.
Yeah, Emily Burger's got some major competition.
So
truthful.
no, you're just
honest. Now, don't let that break your heart.
Okay.
I also ate at Emily Burger 3 times.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
And Corner Bistro.
Oh, I haven't been there in a while.
Yes. So it was
a good spot. It's a
burger
classic
tour.
Nice. Oh, this is a ding, ding, ding.
Tell me.
This is a ding, ding, ding to a story I've been wanting to tell for a minute. David Chang.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. Because when I went to Napa with Callie, we got to the airport, Burbank Airport. Dream of all dreams if you live in LA to fly out of the Burbank Airport.
I don't even want you to tell people about it, but yes.
I know.
It's a blessing.
It's you're in and out so fast, especially because I carried on. Can you imagine?
I can't.
And anyway, it was so exciting. We get to the airport. We get to the vestibule. What's it called?
Baggage claim?
No.
Terminal.
Thank you.
Okay.
We get
the
to
vestibule. Vestibule 3. You're flying out of vestibule 3.
Sometimes you just have to put in a word.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay?
I agree. And it had similar amount of syllables.
I think it could count.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to the terminal.
Vestibule.
Terminal sounds
Terminal.
deathy. Yeah.
Just gate.
What?
Gate.
Gate.
But then for the Bill Gates conspiracy theorists, that's a problem too.
Okay, we get there and Callie's like, "Oh, I think that's that fancy chef," and I was like, "Oh, it's David Chang." Now we've interviewed David Chang.
Yeah.
Additionally, we've also been in Spotify events with him. We've seen him over time. It's not, but I knew, I was like, he is not going to know me out of context. So I'm going to not say anything to him.
Okay, you decide I'm not gonna.
Yeah. But I was kind of like, well, but I really don't want to get near him because I don't want this to be an awkward, or if he's like, oh, I kind of do recognize her, but
okay.
I got kind of anxious.
You overthought it maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, we got called up, so we went. But so something happened and we got sent up there, but it was the wrong gate. So everyone was in line and it was the wrong thing. And Callie and I were first. So the woman told us it was wrong. And so then I was like, ugh. And I look over behind to kind of tell everyone, and he's there.
Okay.
Right there.
Right in your face.
So then I felt I had to at that point kind of say, so I was like, hey.
Oh.
So uncomfortable. And he was like, hey. And I could tell, again, I knew this is going to happen. He's going to kind of know he should know that I'm not like a stranger who's saying, hey.
Yeah. Well, even that tone of hey, you told him, I know you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm good. And then I just left. Or no, I said, how are you? He said, good. And I said, and then I just left. Or Callie was like, let's go. She got me out of there. And
she got me out. She whisked me away.
Yeah. She had to step in. But I don't know what happened. Clearly, I should have just been like, Monica from Armchair Expert.
I know.
It's just so easy to do that. But it felt impossible. And I was so befuddled at the vestibule. And then we just stood on the side like idiots. Cause also.
Now you're really flogging yourself.
Yep.
Probably. Yeah.
And then we get to the airport going home. And I was, and she said, what if David Chang is here? I was like, he probably already, I'm sure he came here for 1
hour.
Cook. Yeah, exactly. And then left. It's fine. And then we're sitting at the terminal gate and she's like, he's here. She's so
Yes,
excited.
of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She wants
is
round 2 of this.
thrilled.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh no. So again, avoiding. And I managed to avoid this time completely until, so Callie's sitting at the window. I'm sitting at the aisle. All of a sudden, she just looks at me with this face. And I look over and guess who's
In your row.
In my
that
row.
single banger?
Correct.
Oh, wow. Now what?
Ignore the whole time.
Oh.
I had to ignore him the entire, and he was like kind of having an issue with the bag. Well, he was holding a thing we think is bread.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to know where the bread was from.
Sure.
But I didn't. I just like looked like to the right the whole flight.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
It was so upsetting. And then she was like, do you want to switch seats? I was like, well, no, that's
'Cause then
really weird.
He'll think you thought he smelled.
Yeah, or his bread smelled.
Well,
And
not
I
the
didn't
bread.
want to
People like
insult
the
the
smell
bread.
of bread.
Well, I don't know what it was. In there.
Okay.
But I did want to know. And I guess, and we made a plan that if for some reason there was another
A third flight.
interaction, if there was another interaction that I could ask, oh, what you got in there? That was my line.
Like you're really flailing.
Is it bread? Where'd you get it? We can't talk to him again.
It's funny you
Sorry, Rob. None of us can eat
do you
at
want me
any
to-
of these restaurants or do any of this.
Do you want me to text him?
Guys, stop it. Why do all of you have this deep relationship with him and he doesn't even recognize me at the airport?
he's in Idaho every year.
I see my food stuff often too.
It really humbled me.
Oh man, I'm sorry you had that. I feel like it brought you back to 7th grade or something.
Yeah, like in the lunchroom.
And you were with Callie.
Yeah.
Like it feels, I'm sure like a lot of old muscle memory was triggered.
It did feel like we were in the
And he was a quarterback or
lunchroom,
something.
or we were at the mall.
You gave him nothing, just familiarity. And then potentially a false curiosity about his bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that like a little monster. Yeah. Hello, David.
Even after I decided, God, it would have just been so easy for me to say Monica from Armchair Expert. I had the opportunity. I didn't do it again.
I will say in his defense, he was on Zoom. That was a
But
Zoom
we've
interview.
seen him. We saw him at the Spotify dinner.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen him
We've
multiple
seen him.
times.
Yeah.
Obviously not as many times as the two of you have seen him.
Right. I'm on
Or
vacation.
I'm just not memorable, which is probably true.
That's not true. That's
It's
not
out
true.
of context.
Very out of
I
context.
wasn't with you. It was awful. And I really want to know what the bread was.
Oh. Well,
Can you ask?
I'll ask. Hey, my friend Monica was on a flight with you up to Napa. Opposite experience. My kids made fun of me for the first 3 days in Hawaii. I mean, I don't ever talk to anyone on an airplane. I just want to watch my shows I've brought on my iPads, and that's my goal.
Oh, you mean like the people you're with?
If I'm seated next to somebody, I'm not striking up a conversation.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch all this content I downloaded on my iPads.
Yeah.
I've got it so mapped out. Like, I'm going to watch this many episodes of this.
Yeah.
But I got sent a video of a dude that was filming riding behind me on a motorcycle at Circuit of Americas in Austin, the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Before takeoff, it was just like I had enough signal to download this video and watch a lap. And I'm watching it, and then I hear the guy next to me says, oh, is that Coda? And because he immediately knew it was Coda from like 2 turns, I go, oh yeah, it's Coda. Have you been there? And he goes, oh yeah, I do a lot of track days there. And then his name was Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
And Monica, the entire trip to Hawaii, 5.5 hours, we talked like 2 schoolgirls.
Wow.
Boyd, what a stud. He's a builder who lives on Maui
Right.
and is so into cars and everything. And my kids just couldn't get over it. They'd never seen me.
Oh.
They get up and go, or I'd have to take Delta to the bathroom.
Yeah.
She'd go, wow, you're really talking to that guy, huh? Does he need a break?
Yeah, you were talking his ear off. Well, I guess we have strengths and weaknesses. You talk a lot, and I don't talk at all.
Nope, that was in no reference to your story other than it reminded me I had
a real ideal seatmate,
That's
which
fun.
never happens.
I don't talk either.
It was such a
I like to
fun
sleep.
and good conversation. It felt kind of crazy to not exchange numbers at the end. I can see how people fall in love on airplanes.
Yeah, meet cutes.
Yeah. I told him where I was staying, and I
You were
kept
hoping he'd pop around.
I kept at dinner. I would like look. I'm like, I wonder if he'll just.
Wow, that
he
is
and his
like a
wife will-
love interest. And what happens is you're talking to the kids at the restaurant, you're chit chatting, and then you just see like out in the distance, there's Boyd, and he's standing there, and he does a little wave, and then you get up and you beeline, and then you make out.
Yeah. All with
That's
the
how it
makeout.
goes. That's how it goes.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I have one more update from the trip.
Okay.
Okay. So we went because Kristen is, again, Time 100 most influential people.
Yeah.
We did not. I did not. And one, I know she didn't either. We didn't look at the list. We didn't know who was nominated other than her. I guess not now. You're not
Who
nominated.
was
You're declared.
selected? Yeah.
So my joke, the 2 days leading up to it was, I bet the first 40, it's so obvious, right? They're in the committee. Oh yeah, that person. And then 40 through 85 is probably takes more time.
Okay.
My hunch is 85, the last 15, I bet is like a month of them in a room. Right? What is that song? I never even heard of that person. What? No, they can't be on the list. Like, I just imagine it gets harder and harder to make a case.
Sure.
It's a lot of people to say.
Sure.
But anyways, go to the event. And to our excitement, Adam and Naomi Scott are there.
Adam was selected
Adam's
as well.
won. So like, oh, phew.
That's fun.
Very fun.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Just a friend. Good friend.
I have an update.
You texted him? Rob!
Oh, wow. This is like Lionel Richie. Uh-oh. Haha. I did say hi when we left Burbank for Napa, but I didn't get a response. So I wasn't sure if it was actually her, or maybe she did and I didn't hear, or maybe I'm just gaslighting myself.
No.
I thought it was her, so it was pretty strange when I returned on the same
my
Flint
God.
was sitting next to her. If I had doubled down and said hi again, it would have seemed very odd, especially if it wasn't her. This was really a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment. I did bring home all this bread that my kids never ate. Good job, Rob. That's a great
update.
Leave it up.
That
Just
goes
leave it
to
up.
show, we both were thinking, I said hi though. I said hi. And then he said hi.
It really demonstrates just how
And then I
awkward
ran
being a
away.
human being is. Like
I
he
know.
was like, is that her? That's her. Well, if it was her, she would have been a little more engaging.
Oh no.
Then she fucking iced me out on the flight and would never look at me. You owe him an apology.
How dare you twist this into that? It was, I
You owe
recognize
him a
him.
huge
I
apology.
said hi.
You should send him a loaf of bread or something.
He should send me one.
He
Why
should.
am I
You're in trouble.
why am I in trouble?
I slept till fucking 1 p.m. But
This
you're in
is
trouble.
great. This is great. We were both, hold on, I got to take a picture of that and send it to Callie.
Yeah, that's really funny stuff.
Ha ha.
He really
I
wrote
did
a long, look at that. He gave you a paragraph.
Rob, what did you say?
I just said that you brought it up on the fact check that you saw him on the way to Napa and back.
That could be from Natalie. I mean, we don't know
Yeah.
the providence of this
Rob, are you
text.
being a rascal?
No, it's 100% him.
But it's how hard to trust Rob.
I can't believe you can text him like that. I can't even talk to him in real life.
Oh, he'll just be like, hey, Dick, what the fuck's up?
Hey.
Monica shit her slacks around you.
Why didn't you talk to Monica?
Yeah, rat.
Okay, well, it's hard to be a person.
Yeah, I think it demonstrates how awkward everyone feels at all times. Even if you're both successful in your own right, you're still walking around like you're in 7th grade and you're not sure the person knows who you are.
7th grade lunchroom.
Okay, back to Time 100.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The event is, and I know I'm going to get myself excluded right now from ever being nominated. I'm looking around the room. Immediately, I'm so excited, you guys. As everyone knows, I want to be around Simone Biles so bad.
Me too.
She was there. I went up to her mom and told her mom how much I love her, and I wanted to know if everyone asked her to do her hair now.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was cute.
And then there's a bunch of people I don't recognize because they've done something heroic around the globe that year.
Yeah.
And so the thing kicks off and it's like Snoop Dogg is emceeing. What a party. Snoop Dogg, he's right there. That's so exciting. And I'm like, how's this dude a better host than everybody? Like he's reading off the prompter like all people, but it feels so good and natural. He's just an ace.
Yeah.
That's a blast. Woo! Let's go now to this honoree. Immediately a microphone. And this woman has been freed like 68 days earlier from Hamas.
Oh.
And she tells this long story. This absolutely one of the worst stories you've ever heard in your life. And then begging for her husband, who's still there
Oh my God.
in tunnels, to be released.
This is horrible.
And you're like, you went from like Snoop Dogg cheering. So it goes from that. And now you're just kind of like, oh man, fuck. I feel bad that I was having a good time.
Sure.
And then back to Snoop's like, bring out this great pop country star. And this guy gets out and he starts rocking on a guitar. And he's like, everybody on your feet. And now we're all standing up and we're dancing. And then it goes to immediately,
like a climate change.
Oh, yes. It was just like this. Woo, woo. You didn't know what, and it's on TV. You can see where you'd have the wrong look on your face.
Yeah.
You just couldn't settle into a fucking mood or a tone.
Oh.
Or if we were there to have fun and celebrate, or if we were there to really cry and be fucking heartbroken and bummed.
Isn't that life?
It was a very accelerated version of life.
Wow. Speaking of New York City, when I didn't go to New York, this was really the opposite of Sim and the opposite of a meet cute.
Okay.
So I was supposed to go. As we know, I didn't go because of Buddhism.
Yeah.
And
because of Buddhism.
I don't know if I should say, I won't say who. There's a person in this industry, not the podcasting industry, the entertainment industry, who I love. It's not Ben and Matt. This isn't I think potentially an available person.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Very extremely attractive.
Oh.
I love him.
Oh, wow.
So I was supposed to go to SNL when I was there.
Yes.
John Hamm was hosting. So I was supposed to go to SNL with my friend Sally.
Yeah.
And I didn't go, obviously, because I didn't go to New York. And she texted me the next day. And she said, I met your boyfriend last night. And I was like, oh, Ben or Matt? And I was still upset about that, obviously.
Yeah.
And she said, no, this person.
The new Ben and Matt.
And he was backstage with her, like with where I would have been.
Oh, no, with Sally.
Yeah, and at the after party, and she talked about the after party because she said he looked kind of alone.
Oh, you love when someone's alone, unless it's David Chang.
I know. Maybe
you could have had the most regrettable experience of your life. Given this, I'm glad you had a trial run with David Chang because that wasn't even. There's no stakes.
No, that's what made it hard.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. I think it would have been great
Can I play a role in this? Do I have access to this person?
Well, we could maybe have this person on. There's a project. There's a project coming up that I think we could potentially have this person on the show. Now, we will not say who it is when it happens.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Anyway, so I missed a huge meet cute opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think about it every other day while I'm masturbating. No, that was a joke. That was a joke. But for real, it was sad.
That's sad.
I know.
I'm sorry. The opposite of Boyd and I.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. I'm having a lot of opposites of you and Boyd. It's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Anywho.
So I had a fucking time of my life dinner with Vincent.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio, friend of the pod.
Oh, man. What a boy. I love him so much. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
We had as much fun with Naomi and Adam as when I used to go to New York, like in my 30s.
Fun.
We ended up in a back elevator
like a service elevator to get out of there. And as we got in there, there was a room service tray, someone's room service tray, and there was a half drinking cup of coffee. And I said to Adam, how much would you pay me to drink this cup of coffee? Would you get $5? And as I was saying, would you pay me $5? I just drank this cup of coffee. And well, okay, you didn't like that story. It was so funny. I felt like I was in seventh grade, and he's putting hand sanitizer on it, and I just drank a random person's half cup of coffee. And then I picked up the tray, and then what was the item in there? And then I took a scoop of it. It was an old dessert. Yeah, it was like that. I was acting like I was back when Aaron and I were causing too much trouble. I couldn't believe how much fun I had out on the town. Like I was in my 30s. And then I've been tired for 2 days.
Oh, you know how I haven't been able to finish a book?
Yeah.
And have like...
Did you finish all fours? You did, right?
Yeah, all fours is the last book I finished. And I've been reading Intermezzo, ding, 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 hats.
Yeah.
Hat riddle that we'll do later.
Yeah.
I've been reading that since December. And I have like 100 pages left and I just can't do it. I can't do it. I stare at it on the nightstand and it has like...
It's haunting
squiggles coming out of it, like deep, like brown squiggles. And I don't want to touch it.
Oh, okay.
So, I have this block about reading. And then my friend Maddie, who's in town, she recommended a book. So I went to Skylight and I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way out, there was another book there that I grabbed last minute because it looked fun. I judged a book by its cover.
Okay, good.
And I've read 130 pages in 2 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I have high hopes that I'm going to finish it this week.
Oh, good.
And I love it.
What is it?
I think you would like it. Although it's fiction, you don't read too much fiction.
That's right.
But it's called Atavists.
Atavists?
Atavists. Something.
Show me the cover because I want to see what grabbed your attention. Yeah, it's a word I don't know or I've never heard of, and there's cute little foxes and bunnies on it. And then the name, Millett, is that the author's name?
Yeah, Lydia Millett.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, and let me tell you
it won the Pulitzer?
Finalist. The word atavism, coined by a botanist and popularized by a criminologist, refers to the resurfacing of a primitive evolutionary trait or urge in a modern being.
Ooh.
And it's all these short stories, but they're all all the people are connected.
Oh.
And it's such a funny and interesting exploration of human behavior.
Oh, I would like that.
Yeah, you would like
Naughty
it.
human behavior?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no. Some
okay.
naughties, some fringe, some horrifying, some
The
beautiful. The gambit.
Gambit. You say gambit. You really hit that
wrong?
B. I say the gamut.
Oh no, am I wrong?
No, I think it is the Queen's Gambit. I think it's with a B. I don't hit that B. You really nail it.
Gambit.
The whole gamut is what I say.
Gamut's also a word too.
Is it the same word?
A complete range or scope of something.
That's it.
Oh, so
Then what's
you've been using the wrong
mean?
word.
Gambit, strategic move, or often in a gamer situation. So I think it is the Queen's Gambit.
Oh no.
Okay, so it's the whole gamut. That's okay. This is great real-time learning. We claim to love learning, but now we're
I don't like
didn't
it.
enjoy that learn.
Strategic move, often involving some kind of sacrifice intended to gain a future advantage.
So then you could say like he was running a gambit, meaning some kind of strategy against me.
Chess, politics, business, and even social interactions.
If people don't watch you on the fact check, they are missing out on 99% of the ride. That look.
Oh my God. Anyway, that was. You don't think I've been beat down enough today? But it's all right. It's the truth. I don't know words.
No, you have
Vestibule.
You have an incredible vocabulary.
Anyway, gamut. Runs the gamut.
That's helpful because I was like, could I really be dropping the B that much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Some facts. This is for Jon Bernthal.
Oh, wonderful.
Quaker values. Quaker values, often summarized by the acronym SPICES, are centered around simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, service, and stewardship. These principles guide Quakers' lives and their interactions with the world, emphasizing direct spiritual experience, inclusivity, and a commitment to social justice.
All right, say them again and let's say what we think our worst two qualities are of that list.
Okay.
So simplicity,
Peace,
peace,
integrity, community, equality, service, and stewardship. Something's happening when I'm saying S's recently. Are you hearing it?
No.
Okay.
What happens?
I'm getting kind of anxious that I'm having.
Do you have a lisp?
Like something is going on. Yeah.
Mr. Dax.
Maybe it's inflamed.
Spices.
Okay. What are
Simplicity. Oh, I would say simplicity's my weak. That's weak, right?
Well, I guess depending on how.
What aspect of your life are you looking at?
Right.
But I don't think I make things simple per se. I think I tend to have a lot of balls in the air all at the same time, trying to do too many things, go too many places, have too many vehicles.
Sure.
Trying to live 10 different lives at once. Not good at simplicity.
Okay.
It wouldn't work for me either. I don't even aspire to that one.
No, you should. Quaker values.
I don't have to live all of them, do I? I can just like a la carte. And then integrity, I think I'm mid-level there. That's good.
Simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, service, and stewardship.
I go peace probably. Yeah. How about you?
Those are really linked, I would say.
Yeah. Simplicity and peace.
I think my worst spices are service.
Okay.
And maybe stewardship. Like you said, stewardship's kind of like, what is it again? I don't really get it.
Yeah, so it's like you're the steward of your flock. You're the steward of your wealth. You're the steward of your objects. Do you maintain them? Do you cherish them? Do you take good care of everything that you were kind of gifted? And are you responsible with all the stuff that you were gifted?
Well, not objects.
Not objects.
But if we're getting more abstract about it, yes, I think I am a good steward of like people.
Yes.
But I don't think of objects. But so, okay, maybe I won't pick that. Maybe simplicity for me too.
Yeah.
I don't live a very simple life.
Right. I don't want to live. That feels akin to boring.
No, there are times, especially since I've become Buddhist, that I've like had thoughts of like, what is all this? What is all this? Like there's so much noise and distraction and it could just be simple.
Yeah. But I think if you know about yourself, and I've had therapists tell me this, and I've had other kind of clinicians tell me this, like I am an arousal personality type.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love being aroused. So I think I see the value in it, but I also don't think that's my path.
Yeah.
You know?
That's makes sense.
Yeah.
You're just not going to be a Quaker.
No, but I like it a lot. It'd be up there if I'm forced to join some kind of religion. Yeah. This is good. This is when my friend Christine joined. She's very, very intelligent.
Okay. Who was on The Class?
All that sounds vaguely like Stoicism to me, by the way.
It also sounds like Buddhism.
Yeah.
It's all
these things are really.
All the good ones are the same.
Did you watch Heretic, that movie?
Yes. Oh my God. I've been meaning to bring it up to you. Oh my God.
Great. I watched it on the airplane.
Yeah, I liked it.
Me too. I love him.
Me too. Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant is so skilled.
He really is.
He's so charming. It's absolutely bonkers.
But he's a
and he
powerful
has aged
actor.
Beautifully. He's still so good looking. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Great movie about religion.
Iterations.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking of the word iterations everywhere I go. I took a long bike ride yesterday, and I was just like thinking on iterations. That's a big theme of the movie.
He
points out how many religions had all these same tenets prior to the Judeo-Christian ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a horror movie.
It is a horror movie.
The girls were
I
really
like it
good
though. It's my kind of horror movie. It's just creepy and suspenseful. It's not like machetes and chainsaws and ghouls and
it's, a kind of a crazy person, but his theories aren't that crazy. I mean, it's
this is consistent with all these things. It's like NXIVM's really good until a line in the sand.
Yeah.
But also that movie hinges on him as an actor because he keeps getting them to stay and quiet their fears. And if it's not Hugh Grant,
like
that was really cast dependent.
It was. The girls, so it's 2 girls and him in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm. And they turn out to be way smarter than you think, which I like.
Yeah. They were great too. I highly recommend that.
Yeah,
movie.
me too.
Okay. The cast of The Class is Andrea Anders, John. Lizzie Kaplan,
Oh,
friend
love
of the pod.
Love her.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson,
Friend of the
friend
pod.
of the pod. Heather Goldenhirsch. We haven't met her yet.
No.
Sean McGuire. Not quite yet. Jason Ritter, friend of the pod.
First live show.
Those are first live show. Those are the regulars that I see. Well, Lucy punches in 13 episodes, but it looks like the rest are 19.
Oh, okay. What a cast.
Great cast.
Yeah.
The current rubles to American dollars, 1 Russian ruble equals 0.012 US dollar. 100 US dollars is 8,403.38 rubles.
Yeah, so 84 rubles per buck.
Okay, the price of Bitcoin today
Oh,
is
this is a random Bitcoin update.
94,180.77, down 123.
Yeah, but that's up. Last time you did it, it was 88,000.
Okay, so maybe it went
It's on the rebound.
Well, no, because today it's down negative 123.02.
Oh, okay, just
So it must
today.
have rebounded and then
That's a wild
back
ride,
down.
this cryptocurrency ride.
It really is.
Yeah, and the
Good
stock
thing
market.
we're tracking it.
Stock market's very wild ride, too. A lot of wildness out there.
There is. I just wanted to shout out his wife who works in a ER trauma center.
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
It's so cool. It's very ER. It's very The Pit.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's
Admirable.
very admirable.
Me too.
And she's probably living simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, service, and stewardship, all the spices.
Probably. Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, thank you.
Love you.
Love you.